Britain is bracing for swingeing spending cuts as the newly elected coalition government attempts to reduce the country's record budget deficit. Government departments have been asked to outline spending under two scenarios, one a 25% cut, the other a 40%. That revelation, along with forecasts that cuts would result in the loss of 600,000 public sector jobs, have stirred the unions. They're vowing to put up a fight, as Europe correspondent Philip Williams reports from London.
It's the guessing game that has added a big dose of fear to the public sector, and for good reason. At the last Cabinet meeting, it was decided government departments would produce two scenarios, one for a 25% cut, another for 40%.
We're going to have to prioritise aggressively, do the things which deliver the most value, which deliver the most support to economic growth, because that's one of the key challenges of the next few years.
Already, advice to the Treasury shows a slashing of the public service will leave 600,000 fewer jobs. Given health and overseas aid are protected and education and defence exposed to limited reductions in spending, that leaves the rest nervous and the opposition Labor Party very angry.
The scale of the cuts which are actually planned in the budget numbers mean even at 25%, it will be impossible to deliver this without laying off police officers, librarians, teachers, teaching assistants. It will send a chill down the spine of public sector workers, but also the users of services, because this is not only unfair, it's also deeply damaging to the economy. This is the wrong thing to do. It's not inevitable. It does not have to be done in this way. I think we're making the mistake of the 1980s and the Great Depression of the 1930s to think cutting spending so drastically will be good for the economy.
Already it's thought a huge school rebuilding program will be slashed, leaving unhappy pupils and teachers.
We have put so much time, so much effort into bringing about improvement in this school, raising achievement, but our girls deserve to be taught in better accommodation than this. This is time expired.
It'd make a lot of difference because we'd be more enthusiastic about coming to school.
The opposition says it will be impossible to make the cuts required without affecting frontline services, including police numbers.
The idea that you can cut the budget in the Home Office by 25%, 33% according to the Institute for Fiscal Studies, 40% we're seeing in this morning's story in the Sunday Telegraph, that you can do that to a budget of £10 billion, by the way, not 110 billion, which is the health service budget, and you won't affect frontline policing is fantasy land.
The unions are vowing to fight the cuts, but one newspaper is reporting the government has been planning changes in legislation to restrict possible strikes.
What we've seen in the last 24 hours is scandalous. It's leaking scare stories that not only are worrying millions of public sector workers, but are also worrying those people who depend on our vital services.
The government is looking at cutting redundancy packages for senior public servants, already announced less generous pensions. Some services will have to go.
Something's got to happen, and if it makes the country a better place, then so be it.
I think the way they're going to approach it is just going to get worse. Obviously, jobs losses are going to go higher. It just becomes like a domino effect.
The public service is big. Wages are okay. They're not huge. The government has no money.
The government is gambling the private sector will take up the slack and drive the economy. The fear that these cuts will be driving the economy straight back into recession. Philip Williams, Lateline.